Ain't no money like free money. Oh, Nick Whitmer. Here we are, saddenly enough, toward the very end of our free money as part of the year. Conference
Three more
championship
games.
weekend. That's sad. Oh,
Three more
you
games.
know it's not
Man, oh
sad?
man.
Going 18 and 11 last week. That's not sad at all,
Wow. Good,
motherfuckers.
good, good for you. I wish I had a good week last week. Last week was
Oh, no.
brutal. 12 and 14.
Ooh.
Every side I took, besides the Ravens, minus 8.5, I lost. Lost Texans hedge bet. Every decision I made was wrong. So the 49ers minus 9.5 was just wrong. Ravens 8.5 was right. But when that game was tied, and Lamar was, I had this in mind. I go, okay, Lamar's going to melt down again. This is embarrassing. So I took Texans plus 6.5 at halftime. Yuck. Bucks plus 6.5. Obviously, we know that. Ravens first half minus 5.5. Ugh. Packers money line when they were up. They were like up 17 to 14, and the money line was plus 220. I hit it. They probably should have won that game. Ugh. Anyway, we
They
don't have to
should have.
recap all these, but I did crush props. Props are the best thing I've done all year. 8 and 5 with props. The week before, I think I was 6 and 3 with props, and I have a shit more props for this week too. So I feel good going into this week. I actually have the most confidence I have in one side, and we've been texting about it, and I have the most money on this side that I've had any game this year. So if this team doesn't pull through, god damn, I'm gonna be fucked.
Uh,
But should we start there?
we shall. Fire it off, my friend.
The Kansas City Chiefs are at the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens are now laying 4, total 44.5. Man, oh man, this is going to be our crossfire because I am all over the fucking Baltimore Ravens. Late to the party, I know. I've been fading them all year. I've been saying they're not that good. And on paper, their roster, like their defensive front, their pass rushers, like I just like didn't, but they're just playing great. They're well coached. This is a lesson to Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin's a great coach, but John Harbaugh is also a great coach. But he got two great coordinators. That's what fucking the Steelers need to do. Anyway, beside that, the Ravens this year against playoff teams, 8-2 with an average win of 34 to 17. The only two losses were against my Pittsburgh Steelers, actually.
Mm.
The Kansas City Chiefs against playoff teams 3-4, and the average score was 21 to 19. Um, Everybody's saying the Chiefs are back, but why? They beat an injury decimated Miami team in the frigid temperatures, and they beat an injury heavy Bills team that were on like their fourth string linebackers. I don't understand the love for Casey. I get it's Patrick Mahomes. I get all of the trends. I totally understand. But I think if like you took away the names and just put both these teams and all of their stats and all of their wins on just in your like team A versus team B, you would say if the Ravens were team B, they should be favored by 6.5, 7. Like it just seems like there are just way better of a team at this point. Um, Chiefs are bottom six against the run, 27th in defensive DVOA against the run. Uh, yeah, I just love the Ravens. I hit their money line. I hit them at 3. I have their first half at minus 2.5. Um, I took the game under 44.5 because I think that the Ravens are going to be able to run the ball very well. And the Chiefs defense, the Chiefs corners in particular, are going to be able to shut down the receivers. But I don't think that the Chiefs can stop this run game. This just seems like a game that clock's going to be running the entire time. The one weakness Baltimore's defense kind of has is running on the first or second down early in the possession. So Pacheco and like if he's healthy, I just see the clock moving. So I like the under. I love Gus Edwards over 41 and a half rush yards. I love Zay Flowers under 4.5 receptions. I could probably go on. This is the one that I can't. I texted this to you before and we were kind of debating about it. I can't really make heads or tails of it, but over the last 3 seasons, teams are 3-14 against the spread after beating Buffalo.
Yeah.
Crazy, failing to cover by 6 points per game, just bananas. So yeah, I think this line should be Ravens minus 6. And yeah, I would hit it at 4, honestly. I mean, if you're late to the party, 4 is it's still there. You could probably find a 3.5. Obviously, at 3.5, I like it better because this could be a 4-point game. And listen, this is Patrick Mahomes. This could be a cover. It really could be because he's Mahomes. But man, it's gonna take like some superhero shit from him playing with these terrible targets. The offensive guard is now injured. He's the all pro, probably the best guard in football, or one of them at least. Um, yeah, I just don't see how the Chiefs are able to keep up here. So I think it's Ravens like 24-14, 23-13, 24-17, something along those lines. Kind of low scoring. So yeah, give me the Ravens.
Oh, for Christ's sakes, I have to teach you this lesson again, Nick. Don't you know the NFL doesn't want Lamar Jackson in the Super Bowl? Don't you know the NFL wants Taylor Swift in the Super Bowl at the box? For the
This
love of
is
Christ.
before we you can continue, and I understand, but the reason why this game got 50 million eyeballs last week, or 100 million eyeballs if it's everybody has two eyes, but the reason it's because it was the Bills. It was the best game of the season.
Yes, we
Everybody,
know.
This is the type of numbers that are an elite. The NFL doesn't need Taylor Swift. Do you think the Super Bowl is going to not have great ratings? Like, who's going to be like? How is Taylor Swift going to add to the Super Bowl? Anyway, I get your point, but yeah, I
Optics,
mean,
I
I'm
say that all
scared of the
tongue in cheek.
refs.
Yeah. And I said that all tongue in cheek, of course. Yes,
Okay,
the refs love Patrick Mahomes, who, of course, are marionetted. Marionetted, is that a word? Oh, I just made it up. By
I like it.
one Roger Goodell. Now, numbers. Mahomes, 8-3 as a dog, straight up. Catching more than three, 5-0 against the spread. Super Bowl winning quarterbacks as a dog in the playoffs. 71% against the spread. What was Jim Harbaugh's record in the playoffs without Lamar Jackson? 11-4 against the spread and covering by 8 points of margin. What is he with Lamar? 2-4. In 6 playoff games, Lamar has the Ravens total and the total game under average of 10 points. You cannot give me Patrick Mahomes at 3 in the hook. That's just, and now 4. I may have to hit that again. Yes, the guard does scare me a little bit. Pacheco's banged up a little too. He's going to play. Who's kidding who? This can get backdoored very easily. Very easily. This game could be 21-18, 21-20. That's what I think it's going to be. 21-20. I don't know who's going to win. But you can't give me Mahomes catching 3.5. Said the same thing last week with the Bills. I said, you can't get, I don't care he's on the road. You give me Mahomes more than a field goal, it is an auto bet every goddamn time. More numbers. Why not? 4-2 against the spread, their last 6 against Baltimore. 4-1 straight up. 11-2 straight up on the road. 4-1 against the spread. Oh, mother fun fact. Patrick Mahomes has thrown for over 300 yards every time he has faced the Baltimore Ravens. Oh, Lamar, by the way, 7-16 against the spread as a favorite of 3 or more. Give me the Chiefs. Gobble, gobble, gobble. Yum, yum, yum. I am with you, though, on the Baltimore first half. They are 13-4 against the spread in the first half. I also took Baltimore money line first quarter as they have, where did that go? Son of a bitch. I can't find it. 11-5-2 in the first quarter, Baltimore. I think Baltimore comes out early, -2.5. I'm with you. I took the Chiefs in the second half, +3.5. Caught it on the alt line, -169. This better come through. Otherwise, that's going to be a painful one. Chiefs, I also took the Chiefs under the Scott Seidenberg special. I give him credit. The Chiefs second half under again hit last week. Thank God Tyler Bass pulled a Ray Finkel. Chiefs under. Where am I looking at that? It's somewhere here. By the way, Chiefs under 14-1 in the fourth quarter alone. It is nuts. The Chiefs, the Chiefs second half under. I got a 22.5. I had to do the alt line because it went to 21.5 because the cat's out of the bag. It's been hitting at an insane pace. So I think the Chiefs played better in the second half. I think Baltimore comes out in the first half. And of course, I'm not going to have a podcast without teaser. I teased the Chiefs up to 10.5, 7-point teaser with the Niners to plus 1.5. I know you don't go through zero, but I wanted the Chiefs to
Mhm.
plus 10.5. That is why. Blah 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 blah. Yes, I'm going to fire in a Gus Edwards anytime touchdown. He outsnaps Justice Hill 20-4 when they are inside the 5-yard line. There are two people on each team who score touchdowns: Lamar Jackson, Gus Edwards. Oh, I guess Mark Andrews. You have to throw him in the mix now. Those three. And for the Chiefs, it's going to be Mahomes, Kelsey, or Pacheco. So I have Pacheco, anytime touchdown. Gus Edwards, anytime touchdown. I also took Mahomes over 240 passing yards, won over that 10 out of 16 this year. And as I mentioned, over 300 yards every time he has played the Ravens. Also, Patrick Mahomes over 26.5 rushing yards. They're going to run a lot more in the game, I believe. He's hit that. Oh, I wrote it down somewhere. Of course, I can't find it. Producer Mike, where were you on that? We don't have a producer. Don't be silly. That's a low number. Everyone's talking about Lamar Jackson getting over. First of all, you don't think Spagnuolo knows that that's exactly what they're going to do? Yes, they're going to key in on that. Yes, and that number is getting way inflated. He ran for 100 yards. That's recency bias, kids. No, I would be shocked if he hits that over. I'm not taking it. I also don't have the balls to take the under in case he does break one. But Patrick Mahomes over rushing yards, 26.5. And that's what I have for that game.
Do you think this Chiefs team is the same though? Like going back to the regular season, they closed out the season playing Bailey Zappi, Aiden O'Connell, and the backup for Cincinnati, Browning, and they didn't. They won by 10 against New England. They lost against against Vegas, and they only won by 8 against Cincinnati against backup quarterbacks here. And then they play frigid Miami in frigid weather, and they don't look great there either. I don't.
What do
I
you?
just
They
don't.
kicked the shit out of Miami that game, dude. What are you kidding me?
They had like 11 field goals. Like they didn't score in the red zone
Yeah,
against Miami's decimated defense. Like this. But my point is the offense of the Chiefs. Like their defense is outstanding. The offense though is not the same offense as we're used to seeing. I mean, I don't just like against Baltimore's defense. They have Kyle Hamilton who as a safety can 100% cover Kelsey. And then if Humphreys plays, which he's trending that way, he takes out Rice. Who is he throwing it to? Scantling? He's going to
No,
give it to these guys who fumbled out of the back of the end zone? Like
no.
he doesn't
McCole Hardman's
have
not playing.
anybody. He
He's got
doesn't have
Pacheco.
anybody. Yeah, he doesn't have anybody on his team to throw to outside of those two guys, and Baltimore has the defense to stop those two guys. So it just seems like one of those games where the Chiefs struggle to put points on the board, and that sounds weird to say, but they've struggled to put points on the board this year. That's not crazy. Like, I mean, we've seen this is not the same Chiefs team this season that they
It's
have been of last season.
it's
So,
not. It's
um,
not. But we're in prime Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid. This is their time. You put Lamar Jackson out there. You put Patrick Mahomes out there. Who's the better quarterback? They ain't even
I mean,
close.
I would say it's closer than you think, but
Dude,
no, because
stop, stop,
they're
stop,
both,
stop.
no,
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 no, no.
time out. They are both top 5 quarterbacks. Mahomes is 1, but Lamar's like 4. That's not, you know what I mean? It's not like he's the 15th best quarterback. So it's not like this huge mismatch where like Mahomes
Oh, it is.
is the only good
No, it's
quarterback
a
in the
huge.
game.
It's a huge mismatch, Nick. It's a huge mismatch.
I
Why?
don't think so. I don't think so
Why?
at all.
Why? 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 Because Lamar in the postseason gags it up. It's just like Derek Jeter in October.
Eh.
They turn on. What do you mean? He's 2-4. He stinks in the playoffs, Nick. This
Yeah,
is nothing new. This is nothing new.
he was outstanding last week against the defense that shut down Flacco, shut down people in the past. Like
Wait. Did you
Flacco was
just
on
say
fire
Did
going
you
in.
say shut down
Flacco, Joe
Flacco?
Flacco was on fire
Oh,
before entering
he
that
was on
game.
the couch, dude. He's not fucking lighting it up. He played a lot of
He
shitbox
was
teams at
lighting it
Brett.
up, dude.
No, I know
I
that.
know, but
I
I'm
know.
saying,
But
but
he's playing shit teams. And then
Browns were scoring. Okay,
The Ravens aren't playing fuck. Listen, you said it a million times, but together, the Ravens bully bad teams. That's what
8-2 against playoff teams this year. 8-2, beating them
it,
34-17. They crushed San Francisco. They
That's
crushed
a
the
great
fucking
win. They crushed Miami. Absolutely. They
yeah.
beat the Jags, who were they got lucky with the kickoff return. I had them too against the Rams. They won by 10
Yeah.
against the Chargers. They beat the Bengals. They lost by 2 to the Browns. They beat the Seahawks, not in the playoffs. They barely beat the Cardinals by a touchdown. They smoked the Rams. Oh, sorry, the Lions. They beat the Titans by 8. They lost to the Steelers, beat the Browns handily. They lost to the Colts. They beat the Bengals in week 1. They beat the Texans 25-9 with a rookie head coach and a brand new quarterback. Look, they're good. I'm just saying that it's Patrick Mahomes. This is again, Patrick Mahomes' time is now. All they do is they catch fire. He's went to 6 straight conference championships. Again, I'm not saying
Listen,
I'm
I'm
very
not
confident
shitting on
win.
Mahomes.
Right.
I'm
But
just, I'm just saying that when you're talking about two elite quarterbacks, it's not like you can just say that one quarter like that the quarter that the Chiefs are playing a team that doesn't have a quarterback. Like they have a quarterback. Like he's going to be the MVP of the
sure.
year league
So
this year. He's like
Lamar,
legit
watch this,
great
right?
quarterback.
Lamar
But last
Jackson,
week,
Lamar Jackson is the Alex Rodriguez of the NFL. He's
I
amazing
don't
in the
think
regular
so.
season, and then he gags up in the postseason.
It's a very small sample size to say he's not great in the postseason because one, they were playing this archaic Greg Roman offense that was not. It's kind of like you can't come from behind and throw the ball when you're playing in a Greg Roman offense. It's dependent on running the ball and getting up on teams. And when the Ravens got down, they had no ability to come back because the system was bad. This year under Munkin, like they're throwing on everybody. Last week was a perfect example. The Texans, completely out of character to what they put on tape the entire season, decided to just blitz heavy in the first half, and it slowed him down. And then they adjusted. He started throwing quick passes. That second half, 3 straight touchdown drives, 100 yards rushing. He expertly adjusted and he looked comfortable. And if there was a time for him to collapse, it would have been the second half of a game where everybody says the guy can't play in the postseason. And then the first half, they don't really look that great. It would have been the easiest thing for him in the world to hermit crab and then go up. I even thought it. I fucking bet against it. I was like, yeah, give me the Texans 6.5 because this is the Lamar thing. And then Lamar had one of the best halves of football I've seen in recent memory of a playoff team. So, I mean, maybe he sucks and maybe it goes back to that, but I just don't think the sample size of just what he's played 5, 6 games. I don't think it's enough to say that he's a choke artist, especially the way he plays too. Like I don't know. I hate the Ravens. I'm a Steelers fan. And I have nothing but compliments the way he's been this year. So
I
I
just
don't know.
think
I
that
mean, you do have Patrick Mahomes. This is like how many times was Brady in a conference championship game and he shouldn't have won and he won? Like you're right. I mean, it's Mahomes. It's like there's 100% chance. Or not 100% chance, because if there was, I would have taken it. But there's a chance that Mahomes keeps this game close and steals it because he's Mahomes for sure.
right.
I acknowledge that, but I just think that if you're looking at these two teams on merit of this season alone, the Ravens are clearly the better team.
Right. But
But
everything changes in January is my point. I'm not saying Ravens can't win, not at all. I'm saying it's going to be closer than a field goal or thereabouts, not more than 4. Let's get to the next
yeah,
game
take
here.
that. That was an elite crossfire. Take notes, RJ. The Detroit Lions
And none of us
at
ate,
the
and none of us were eating the entire time during that discussion.
and yeah, no one had a Mountain Dew belch right in the middle of a fucking handicap. The Detroit Lions at San Francisco
Yeah.
49ers. Niners are now 7.5, favored by 7.5, total 51.5. Wow. This is a tough one for me. I'm not nearly as confident. I will say when I first saw the line, it popped. It was San Francisco minus 6.5 and total 51.5. I initially just gut reaction. I took San Francisco less than a touchdown and I took the under 51.5. But man, oh man, I mean, Debo is everything. When Debo starts and finishes a game, Niners are 12-1 straight
Yeah.
up, 10-3 against the spread. When he misses a game or doesn't finish a game, 1-4 straight up, 0-5 against the spread. And that one was last week. So I like more props in this game than anything. I think the Lions defense is very susceptible to get beat during the pass. I mean, you had Stafford and Baker throwing well over 300. Now we have a week where everybody's questioning Purdy. People are saying he had no right to be in the MVP discussion. his team's coming out defending him. I feel like this is going to be a Brock Purdy game. I took his over pass yards 272 and a half.
I was
I took
debating that 5 minutes before we signed on. I
yeah,
shit you not.
yeah. Baker hit it well over 300. Both him and Stafford. Stafford was like 350. I think Baker hit three. I forget what Baker had, but I know it was in the 300s.
Right.
Um, I love Kittle over 58 and a half receiving yards. Um, I love McCaffrey over 35 and a half receiving yards. I also took Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle anytime touchdowns. Um, so my under, I'm not necessarily loving it anymore, but I still have it. But I think the Niners play. I mean, I think the Niners win this game like 27-17. So I do think the under's still in play. I also have Goff under 258 and a half pass yards. Goff against this defense, he's missing his guard, a really good guard, and the guy that they're replacing him with is awful. San Francisco has a great defensive front, and if they can get pressure up the middle, that's terrible for Goff because Goff is a pocket passer. He would rather step up and avoid outside pressure in the pocket and throw down the field than scramble outside the tackles. And if you have pressure going up the gut this entire time, I don't think it's good. I'm also going to consider maybe Gibbs. I want to look actually at Gibbs right now for total receiving and passing yards together,
Mhm.
because I think the way to attack this defense for the 49ers, if you're the Lions, it might be quick passes, and you might see a lot of swing passes. And Gibbs is just really fast, and you saw Aaron Jones have success last week. Another fast, not nearly as fast as Gibbs, but fast running back. So um, I want to look at those. Maybe while you're doing your handicap of this game, I will find that and possibly give it out if it has a good value to it.
Here we
But
go. I
yeah,
just
I
I just jumped on right with you with Brock Purdy over 274 and a half passing yards.
cool, cool, cool. What else you have for this one? Because I think that's. Let me just make sure, but I think that's all I have for this one. Yeah, San Francisco minus 6.5 because I got it early. I'm not giving it out as a pick. At 7.5, I might even lean Lions at this point. But yeah, I think that's all I got.
The thing that scares me about this game, and I also jumped on San Fran immediately at 6.5, because the weather's going to be, perfect, like 70 degrees perfect. We're talking out there. We all know
Yeah,
golf stinks outside. By the way, Detroit hasn't played an outside game since December 12th. They haven't won a road game outside since week 6 against Tampa in Tampa. So they haven't played on natural grass in 6 weeks. So that
it's
may screw up their
grass.
time. I'm sorry. They haven't played on they've been playing on nothing but turf. So they're playing on grass now, excuse me. They've been playing on turf
Yeah,
for the
so no,
last
yeah, so
month.
that's what I meant. So San Francisco is a grass field, though.
Mhm.
I didn't know that. I was actually wondering that.
Yep. So I have
That's
that.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Right. Right. I also have the Niners, like I said, Niners minus 6.5. I teased them to plus 1.5 with the Chiefs plus 10.5. I grabbed Kittle immediately over 57.5. That defense is porous. We watched Kate Otten hit his number easily again last week. By the way, Baker hit that number at the beginning of the third quarter. So that's why I decided to jump on the Purdy over. I also grabbed Purdy over 1.5 passing touchdowns. We all know that the Lions are stout against the run. That the Lions are terrible inside of the numbers. That if Deebo Samuel plays, that's his home run territory. Also George Kittle's territory. So I have that. I also took for a little amount Kittle anytime touchdown. I also took Montgomery, the running back for the Lions, over 1.5 receptions at plus 122. He's caught 2 balls in the last seven out of his 16 games. The Niners led up the 3rd most passing attempts and the 5th most running back receptions in the regular season, including last week. San Fran has allowed 2+ receptions to 26 running backs in 18 games. I think this is a no-brainer. McCaffrey over 35.5 receiving yards. This has got swing pass central with his name all over it. And hell,
I'm on that as well.
I may be very inclined to take McCaffrey anytime touchdown for this game as well. I took your pick. I took your advice with Eric Armstead over a quarter of a sack, just for a little bit of that. Anything else I have on that? No, that's all I have. So San Fran minus 6.5. Tease with the Niners as well. Plus Chiefs. I'm sorry, 10.5 and 1.5. Kittle over 57.5. McCaffrey over 35.5 receiving. Mahomes, that's the wrong game. Sorry. Eric Armstead over a quarter sack. Montgomery over 1.5 receptions. Kittle anytime TD. And Purdy over 1.5 touchdowns and over 274.5 passing yards.
I just hit Jahmyr Gibbs over 22.5 receiving yards as another one. Again, thinking that if the game script is Lions fall behind and have to make up points, I could see them throwing. You mentioned it before, the Lions giving up a lot of passing yards and attempts to running backs, and I think Gibbs is a better fit to be getting those balls in the open field than Montgomery. But not disagreeing with your receptions for him, because I'm sure he'll get those too. But I think
What's his
Gibbs
wait?
could
Sorry,
have a pretty
what was his number again?
22.5 on DraftKings. It's like the juice is -130, but on FanDuel, 22.5 is -110.
So his last two games, he's caught 4 for 40 and 4 for 43. He had one
Yeah.
catch against Minnesota, 3 against, I'm sorry, those are targets. He had 0 against Minnesota, 0 against Dallas. He had 4 for 20 against the Vikings. Yeah, he hasn't started. So, but at the middle of the season, he was really lighting it up. 58, 37, 35, 59. Well, then 19, then -6. But yeah, I could.
But look in that Baltimore game when they were behind, how much he had, like 10 catches that game or something like that. So I think
10 for
like
58. Very good.
yeah. So if he if the Lions are behind in this one, I think he's going to be the guy.
All right,
You want to
I'll grab
start?
this. Yeah, I will. Kansas City +3.5. San Fran -6.5. Kansas City teased to +10.5 with the Niners catching 1.5, a 7-point teaser. Kittle over 57.5. McCaffrey over 35.5 receiving yards. Kansas City +3.5 in the second half. Baltimore -2.5 for the first half. Baltimore money line first quarter. Kansas City second half under 22.5. Mahomes over 26.5 rushing. Eric Armstead for, I don't even know, a fourth of a unit. Over a quarter of a sack. Montgomery over 1.5 receptions, also for a little. Kittle anytime touchdown. Kansas City, or second down, 20.5. Pacheco anytime touchdown. Gus Edwards anytime touchdown. Mahomes over 240 passing. Brock Purdy over 1.5 touchdowns passing. Brock Purdy over 274.
Nice. I have. Let me just add one more thing to my ledger here. All right. San Francisco -6.5. Ravens money line. Ravens -3. Ravens -3.5. Ravens -2.5 first half. Kansas City, Baltimore under 44.5. San Francisco, Detroit under 51.5. Kittle anytime touchdown. Kittle over 58.5 receiving yards. McCaffrey over 35.5 receiving yards. Purdy over 272.5 pass yards. Ayuk anytime touchdown. Goff under 258.5 pass yards. I do have the Armstead over 0.25. That was courtesy of Stuckey. Shout out to that guy. He's been good this year. Zay Flowers under 4.5 receptions. Gus Edwards over 41.5 rush yards. Jahmyr Gibbs over 22.5 receiving yards. And that is it, folks.
Well, hopefully you don't get too bruised and battered after the Ravens don't cover, my friend. So,
Oh my God, dude. I just know like it's going to be like 17-17 and you're just going to be like, fucking told you, bro. And I'm going to be like, I know.
I don't want to be that way, but you're right. I hope that is that way. That's Kevin. That's Nick Whitmer. I'm Kevin Gootee, and we'll see you at the window.